everyone, this is Adeline with Scrap and Sew, and today is the first block of the month class. And for the block of the month class, we're going to do the pop-up embroidery technique, which looks like this. All right, can all of you see that? And what I'm going to do first is I have a backup plan, so I did record a video to do the leaves and then show you how I placed the flower part on the Aqua Magic, or if you're using Wet and Gone, same product. And then we'll go from there. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is how to design this. And what I did, I'm going to show you the back of my fabric. And what I did is I took the colors that were in this fabric and I started creating a color wave from that. So if your fabric has those little color codes on the selvage edge, that's a great help too, because you can match your fabrics that you're selecting to those color codes, because the purpose of those color codes is to make sure that all the ink is laid down as the fabric goes through the process. So what I did is I came up with some different greens and the pinks and then that dark color. And this particular flower right here really spoke to me, and I knew that we had that in the machine. And what that turns out to be is a thread velvet rose. So next month's block is going to be quilting in the hoop. And then as you can see, let me move here, that thread velvet flower, and it blooms beautifully. So you can use polyester thread, but the rayon threads bloom much better. I don't know that we have all the colors that you guys would want, so that's the other thing too. Alrighty, so picking out your colors was the first step. I sent you the supply list, and then I sent you this list for making the whole project. But the steps that you were to do for today is to just cut a 10-inch square. Let me get it. Cut a 10-inch square of your block fabric and cover it with the Pellon SF101 or Shape Flex. And that was actually your pre-work period. If I did recommend that you sew out your leaves if you had time to do that. And there's a couple of different things that I'm going to go over before we actually start to stitch. And we all got, it's here somewhere. Oh, I put things on the floor too. We all got the embroidery. Here they are. So there's two, I have two embroidery collections, but this is the one that came with the Icon 2. And this is the one that came with the Icon. And everybody in this class, except the one Beverly, has an Icon 2. I'm not sure what Beverly has. So when I look for designs to create, I take out this book, because I may pass by several designs on the machine and not even realize they're there. I have done it before. And so what I do now is this one has several more designs included. I don't know that it has all 817 designs, but it's pretty heavy. It could possibly do that. So they, in the sampler book is what I call it, they put the designs based on hoop sizes and then by the categories. Now this is new too. Putting the categories in the front is new, and that really does help, because these categories are matching the categories that go across your menu on your machine. okay? We're going to be using designs out of flowers and leaves. Then there is also a key, which is on the inside of the cover for the techniques that are included in the designs. And I'm showing, I can only find the icon online. So I'm only able to show you the one page, but that's what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share. Let's see if I can figure this out now. I'm going to share my screen and I am going to share, let's see, portion of the screen. I guess it is. Let's see if it works, shall we? Okay. Now, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you see here is the one page of the key that is in the icon book. Our icon 2 book is on the inside cover right here. And the inside cover is the key for all the designs. But let me just quickly go over them. This is any design that has an eyelet. And that's where I found the design for my wall hanging here. I didn't even know it had eyelets in it. And then a wing needle, looks just like the wing needle. This is the pop-up embroidery, and that's what we're doing today. And then cut work, which I did last month with the cut work needles. And then we're going to do applique today and freestanding lace, or not lace, the freestanding designs. And then there are chenille designs, and there are several in the children's section that are chenille. And then the endless hoop and yarn couching. Also listed are the thread velvet designs and the designs that use a hoop, the ribbon attachment, or the creative embellishment attachment right there. You can see that. That's in the inside of our sampler book. Okay. So
I didn't know, does it tell any place how to do that pop-up in the book, or it just,
no, it's on the machine. I'm going to show you how to do that.
okay.
Yeah. All right, so I'll stop sharing that. Then if you go to your machine and you go to, let's see, I'm going to try and do this. You're going to go to your help center. Okay. All right, let's turn on, whoops, not that one. Okay, so let's go to my camera. And I'm going to share the camera. Let's see if it pops up. All righty. Should be popping up here pretty soon. Nope, that's not it. And when you go to the help center, the techniques and tutorial screen shows you all of the different steps to doing each of those that are listed in the book, and more now on the icon too. All right. All right, there I am. To get to the help center, don't forget, it's the second icon right next to the settings screen. So when you go to the techniques and tutorials, you'll see that it's for garment techniques, sewing, quilting, and then embroidery techniques. And And when you go into the embroidery techniques, you'll see that there's a standard embroidery, applique embroidery, quilting, and freestanding, cut work, yarn embellishment. Those match all of and more actually in your sampler book. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to freestanding embroidery. And what you see is you see the basic thread only. And here is the butterfly design. You know what? It was just here. Oh, yeah. You know what? It's on our project. So here is the butterfly design that is freestanding. Okay, that uses just thread and it's digitized to be freestanding without an applique. This one is with fabric. And when you tap on those, you'll be able to see all the different freestanding laces with fabric. But we're going to do freestanding pop-up. So I'm going to tap that. Okay, you know what? Janet, this may be a problem you have.
No, tap it again. Tap it again. No,
No?
okay. No. Mine hesitated again, but it did go.
And what it is as you can see, I'm in the embroidery stitch out. So what I did is I was ready to stitch out this flower, but now I'll just go to embroidery edit because I can certainly do that again. Get out of embroidery edit.
Could you save that so you just have it there?
I'm going to, yeah. And so I'll just save it here. And I'll just call it Rose. And I'll put it in applique. There. Now it'll come back where it was meant to be. Good point. All right, so now if I go into this, it's going to ask me if I want to replace it when I pick it up. So now it'll say, do you want to clear your ongoing work? So remember that, because that was, I think that was your question yesterday, Janet, is I couldn't select it because I was in stitch out. So you have to remember stitch out is locked. And so you have to make sure that you are in embroidery edit to access any of these screens. And I found my butterfly. There it is. It flew to the floor. All righty, so basically what it does is it tells you step by step how to select the designs and how to hoop. That was just hoop it. Now thread your machine for the first color block. And then you place your applique. So this is how we're going to do the flower. And then I should have it, you rinse it off. And then you select the design number 2. So let's see what this gives us. A go. That's your go button. So let's see where I can find a video.
There isn't one, I don't think, Adeline.
Yeah, there isn't one. Okay, so the content right here shows you all the designs in this machine that are pop-ups. And you'll see in the next video about what a pop-up is. We are going to be using these 4 designs, and they are numbered differently in this content area than they are in your embroidery collection. And it's 41, 42, 43, and 44, I believe. And that's what we're going to do. So we are going to use number 22 in this case, and it pops up, with the big hoop, which you really don't need. Come on, there we go. All right, so I'm going to change my hoop. what hoop I used was the 260 by 200. And then I'll put it in the center because it's off to the side. And then the red line goes away. This is driving me nuts. What? Now, you will see that there are spaces here for where you're going to put a design.
Oh,
And there's where you're going to put your flower. And when we get to sewing that today, there will be prompts to tell you where to put it. And that's exactly how a pop-up works. There's a cute pop-up in the children's one with a bookworm and the flower, and here it is. I don't know if you can see it, but it's cute. It has a leaf and the flower with the bookworm. And I thought that would be cute on one of those travel pillows.
but so do we have to have our things that we made, our leaf and our flower? They should already be ready and dried, Adeline?
Well, we're going to do that today.
Oh, but when you say when you're stitching out this design, do you stitch them on there?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So what if, I mean, I don't have mine dry or even they're still on this, so.
Well, that's the next step we're going to do. I'm going to go over the embroidery, then we'll set them to dry. And
It happens pretty quick.
I did mine about, 45 minutes ago, and it's almost dry. It's almost dry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, pop-up embroidery means dimensional. And then the designs are digitized to tell you where to place them. And then you just follow the prompts. So it's not that difficult. Okie doke?
Yep.
All right, now I'm going to stop sharing my iPad. And I am going to share the screen. And what I'm going to do is, let's see if I can get another one up. Okay, can you see that? That's the flower. So what this, it looks like dissolve away, but I would never recommend dissolve away. That's why I recommend 2 layers of wet and gone. Dissolve away is a clear plastic, which is what this looks like. And then it's pretty heavy. And we have dissolve away max too. So then the next step is you put the applique down, you cut out the fabric, you stitch it, and then you dip it in your little cool water. Right here this is a placement line. This is a tack down. Then you cut the applique, you do the 3rd stitching, then the shading and the dark shading. And it does look very nice depending on what you choose to do. The next one, whoops, let me get that there. See if I can expand that. The next one are the leaves. And the leaves are 42 and 43. And as you can see, again, the water soluble in the background right here. And then 3 shades of color of greens. And I have my threads set up on this video, and hopefully, cross your fingers, it works. All right, now let's see if I have anything else. The last design. Okie doke. So let's see if I can get that to grow. There we go. So as you can see with design 34, you have all of your colors right here on the right. And the first color is brown, and then a real dark gray or dark brown, whichever you choose. And then you start with the greens. Then the pink is where they sew the buds, right here and here. than the dark part of these, the shading. What I wanted to point out is if you see those little triangles, those little triangles are telling you to place the design down. And they match with these numbers down here. So 14 is your first leaf, 43 or 40, and then 15 is 42, and then 17 is 41 or your flower. And that's how to read this to stitch it out.
Okay.
And then here's your symbol for the pop-up. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
No? Okay. All righty, now let me see if I can get my video back up again that I recorded earlier. Let's see. Video, here we go. Come on. I think I have to find it. I think that's what I did the last time. I'm going to get better at this. All righty, so we're going to go into the wall hanging and we're going to go into the pre-work right there. All right. You ready?
Mhm.
Just a minute to see if it's- Can you see me
Yes.
Two, yes.
in the video? Okay, great. Okay, so now we're recording. And it's in the middle of my face still, right?
Yep.
Oh, no,
Yes.
wrong
Oh.
video. Wrong video. Right. That was a question from last night. We had a great time. You guys missed a good time.
Yeah.
She seems to have a prior commitment every week, so.
That's okay. We were just had fun. All right. This is a blot. This is the one I want. No, don't tell me. All right. Okay, let me go to someplace else. Let me try the Zoom category. All right, back on pre-work. Oh, darn. That's a pre-work from last night. This was 11/17. Let's try this one. There it is. All right. Hello. Here we go. Do we have no sound?
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to start with embroidery first. Oh, I had a pause. Silly me. All right. Golly gee whiz here. And we're going to select the embroidery screen right here. And I'm going to cancel that because I have my topper wall hanging rather sitting on the bench or the throw plate of the machine. So I'm going to go to our design screen. I am going to open up flowers and leaves. And I am going to look for number 41. 41, 42, 43, 44. So I'm going to open up first 42. And you'll see that it brings it in the smallest hoop possible, which is the 80 by 80. I'm going to move this right over here. I'm going to change the hoop to 120 by 120. And now I have a little bit more room. So I'm going to deselect it. And then I am going to go back to our designs. And I'm going to select number 43. 43 will fit nicely right here. But in a minute, I'll show you why I'm moving it up here. Okay. So when we go over to the wall hanging right here, you'll see that I'm taking a picture from this side so that you can see the pop-up. So you can see that this flower is dimensional and this leaf is dimensional and this leaf is dimensional. So what we have to do first is we have to stitch these out and then put them in warm water. So right now I'm going to be switching to a different colorway because I decided I'm going to make this a fall look. So I
Excuse
have
me.
golds and greens for my leaves and my flower. So I'm going to bring you over here. And I'm going to show you what you need for your stitch out. So for the greens, you're going to need a dark green, a medium green, and a light green. So this one here in front is going to be my medium green. And this one is going to be that goldish green. And that is this particular color by Floriani that was in a pack that I purchased several years ago. This is my bobbin, and I wound the bobbin with this thread right here, the medium color thread, because we want our leaves to be able to be the same color on the back as it is on the front. So now with my fabric piece, I'm going to select the gold, and the gold over here is right here on the bottom. And I've decided that this was a tough one because I don't have a lot of choices, but I think it turned out okay. And here is the fabric that I'm going to be using as the applique. I don't know if see, that's I don't know, that was in my stash. We may have it still or not, I don't know. And, oh, sorry. This is going to be my light. This is going to be my dark, medium, sorry. This is going to be my dark color. And when I stitched it out, I was pretty pleased because what I did is I used the fabric and put more of the darker color in the center. Then I realized, well, that was silly because I'm going to stitch that onto the final flower and I'll probably end up covering it all up. Okay, so then when we go to stitch out for the green leaves, we're going to hoop 2 layers of stabilizer. And with 2 layers of stabilizer, for those of you that are wondering how come I'm using 2 layers of stabilizer, whenever you have 10,000 stitches or more, you need to start counting how many 10,000s you have. So these 2 designs are together 12,000 stitches. And so you want enough wash away or wet and gone or aqua magic in this case to be able to support all those stitches. So that's why I added the 2nd layer. Now I have a lot of extra space right here. And what I'm going to do is show you right now is a couple of techniques that I do to conserve stabilizer. Let me straighten this out. So what I do is, first of all, I move this out of my way, driving me nuts. And then I take this and I put it in the upper right-hand corner. And you can see now that there's a red line around the outside. That design does not fit into the hoop, but we have this really cool thing right here. This icon is I can tap that and then it will bring it in right inside the hoop. So let me get cleaner here, tap that. And now it is in the upper right-hand corner and we can squeeze in as many designs as we can without turning on the red line. So now I'm going to take this one, deselect that, take this one. I'm going to do the very same thing. So I'm going to move this right up into the upper right-hand corner and then bring it back just inside of the hoop, just like that. And now I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the go button. And it says it has to calibrate. That's setting up the arm. And here you see all of the colors. Leaf number 1 color, leaf number 2 colors. Now they are exactly the same. And in this instance, what we're going to do is we're going to color sort. And that puts them in order together. And then this would stitch out and stop. This would stitch out and stop, and so forth. We want them to merge. Now I can stitch out the 2 medium colors and then it stops. The 2 light colors and then it stops. And then lastly, the 2 dark colors and then it stops. So now I'm ready to put my hoop into the machine and I'm ready to stitch out the 2 leaves as soon as I thread the machine. Any questions? No questions?
Nope.
All righty, then we will pause the recording. So I'm ready to start with the last color, and that is the dark green. And I just wanted to show you a couple things. So when you open up the stitch out, you'll see a lot of information. You'll see that there's 9,718 stitches. There are 2 colors left to go. This is your active stitch technology, and I do use that with a satin stitch such as this. You'll see that with this 1 color here, there are 3 minutes to go with that 1 color. And then over here, you'll see that there's 7 minutes left in the total design. These are the total number of stitches. So there's 1,643. So there's 7 minutes left in the total design. And then here there's 1,200 or 12,643 stitches left. I mean, total in the design, and you're at 97.18. So with that being said, that gives you an idea of how much longer your design is going to take. You can leave this screen up. Most of the time I do not. So I'm going to close that and continue stitching with that third color, which is this one right here. Okay, cut, remove thread. As you can see, I'm finishing up those 2 leaves. I'm going on to putting the flower in place. I recommended that for your pre-work, you do the 2 leaves. So you can skip this part if you've already done it. All righty, it just finished. So I'm going to remove my hoop from the arm of the embroidery machine and hit OK. Go back to embroidery edit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these 2 designs. So I'm going to select one, long hold, and hit delete all. Whoops, that's not what I want. My fat fingers again. I'm a long hold, delete all. And it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to delete the designs? And I'm going to say yes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my flower. And what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to bring it down into the corner, open this up, and bring it up into place. So now it's on the hoop without any red lines, meaning that it's not going to fit in the hoop. So basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I typically do is I will take the hoop out. Here, I'm going to get this in focus. I will take it out of the hoop and then I'll slide the rest of the stabilizer up to the top and re-hoop. So it's going to look like this. And here we go. So it looks like this. So now I'm going to check and make sure that I have enough room for that flower in this lower portion of the hoop. So I hit go. Now this screen is different. So I'm going to put this on the machine. I'm going to go over here to the embroidery stitch out screen, and I am going to take off merge because these 3 colors are the same. So color 11 is 2053, color 2503. These are all the same. It won't stop. It'll continue to go. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that it does the placement stitch, put your fabric down, the tack down stitch, and then the last outline or basic outline stitch right there, see? And then these are the two last stitches of the design. So now let's go into precise positioning. That's one way of doing it. I could also scan the hoop. I could also turn on the projector and be able to see it. But today I'm just going to use precise positioning, and I'm going to move this. That's where my needle is going to go in. And I think I'm going to go up here. Just make sure that it doesn't run into any of the leaves. And then I tap this, lock it in place. And I have plenty of room, as you can see here. That's where the needle is going to go down into. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my machine to sew the flower. And then once I get that done, then I have my little setup over here. And my little setup, I really need a new one of those mats. I have scrubbed that and scrubbed that. I'm just a sloppy, dirty sewer. So what I did is I cut off the stabilizer as close to the design as I could, along with the two leaves. And I have my bowl of water that I'm going to soak it in. And I'm going to let those soak probably for, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. And then I'll take them out and lay them on a towel. I'll go get a towel and put it right here. And then I'll shape them so it has some form. I really don't want to leave them in that long. And I do have cold water in here because I just want to dissolve the stabilizer, but I don't want to rinse it all out. Also, after I'm done cutting, I have a little bag of water-soluble stabilizers right here. And those are all my scraps. And I use the scraps. You can actually put them together in a, match them up on a hoop, and then tap them with just a tad bit of water, and they will stick together. So that's my little hint for today. All righty, so we'll go back to our main discussion, and then we'll see if anybody has any questions. Okay? All right, I'm back. Did you watch that or did you sleep?
I have a question. You kind of went out. Was it 20 minutes that you left them in the water?
I said that, but it's probably ended up being more like 15.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you this is a flower. Let me put myself on speaker. Yeah, there we go. I'm on speaker. So this is a flower. And you see how after 15 minutes, it did dry really fast. Of course, it might be that I'm back here too in the hot box. And then these are the other two on the towel, and I just put them down on the towel and just shaped them and let them dry that way. So they actually have some type of dimension, and they're dry too. So what I figured is these could be drying while we embroidered the main piece. So what I'm going to show you now is how to stitch out this flower. So let's try this again. All right, hit go. All right. And share it. That should help you with trying to decide what colors you're going to do too. Okay. All righty. So I have my design up here too, and I wanted to show you that I'm on ghost mode. And so when you're on ghost mode, right here, you can see I'm on ghost mode. That means it just shows you this color of the actual stitch that you are stitching on. If you turn off ghost mode, then it shows you all colors of the design. This is a new feature to both the icon. It came on the icon first, and then the icon 2 as well. So when I go over now to my stitching, I have everything all threaded. And let's see if I can get it started here. I cut it. Now it will stitch, this is the placement line. And it stops. Then I took a piece of fabric, I cut it 4 inches by 5 inches. And I'm going to lay that right on top of that placement line. We've all done appliques, so this is not that difficult to do. Okay, then I go to color number 2. And color number 2 is the tack down. And that goes around twice. That's how I know it's a tack down. And then I'm going to cut it out, cut that applique fabric out. It's very easy to do. You can use applique scissors, a duckbill scissors, whatever you have, and just cut as close as you can. Mine's a little puffy because I was at an angle. And then you just cut it all out. What I try and do is cut it first with these applique scissors. They're my Ginger scissors. They need to be sharpened though. Because my duck-billed ones are all, I have 3 of them. How I ended up with 3, I have no idea. But they're all dull. So there's it all cut out. And I just go, what I usually do is I go back. And if it's a little bit too long in places, I cut it back because I don't like the whiskers. That's what pops up. So, like that. I got another spot here I got to get into. All right. Now I've used the same color the whole time. So this was my first color of the gold. And now it's going to do it's like a zigzag satin stitch all the way around. So at this point, you can go ahead and stitch out your leaves and stitch out your flower. And then I'm going to go ahead and get ready. I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to set up my other hoop right here. I have tearaway stabilizer in the 260 by 200 hoop. I've folded my fabric piece right sides together. So I have 4 quadrants, and then I'll get ready to stitch that as soon as we're all done. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Nope. All right. If you want, you can leave your, if you have any questions, let's turn off our volume, our audio, turn it off. And then if you have any questions, then just let me know. Raise your hand. And that way we don't have to hear all of those machines stitching.
I have a question. I've got that all stitched out. So can I,
Go ahead and, yeah.
hey, I've got mine all stitched out and soaking. So can I go ahead and start the other one or not? You want me to wait?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. So do I need anything? Just maybe I'll just go to the point where I stitch that pop-up center and
Good
stop.
idea. Mhm.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So what I did too is if you look at this, there's a couple of ways I mark the center on the stabilizer. Then I fold this and line up the center, and then that way I can make sure. But then we always have precise positioning too to line it up. So you can do it
Okay,
whichever you're comfortable with. All righty?
okay. All
Okay.
right.
All right. All right, now to put the flower on, you'll see that number 16 in the thread colors are yellow. I'm going to minimize that. I'm actually using brown, but what that is a round stitch line. Now, if I go to number 17, you'll see that it's all those little pieces of the design. So what I did is I did 16 first and created a placement stitch. All righty. So here we go. I'll show you what I mean. All righty. So what I did is I'm stitching number 16. Then if you want to put a little bit of glue on the back of your little fabric piece, a little bit of fabric glue, or in my case, blue glue, and then you put it right back over that circle right there. And instead of going to 17, you go back to 16 and do it again. So now, there. See what's going on? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch, trim off a couple of those threads. Now it's gonna cut all of those little, it's gonna sew all of those little. Whoa, boy, does that sound, you hear that? That's the needle going through all those layers. It's a small little satin stitch too. Check and see if it's caught. Sometimes I get nervous. Let's see if it's caught. Oh yeah. It's caught. Oh boy. So do you get the idea? Because I'm going to have to tear this apart and then pick it up. Let's stop the share. I'm going to have to cut that out and then pick up where I left off.
Do you think we should put new needles on after all this stitching? Would that help if it was a sharper?
Probably. Yep, more than likely. I gotta stand up and, whoa.
But now is 17, does it just stitch an outline and put it down, or does it have other stitches to go on it?
17 only has those little bud things, the little flower buds.
Okay,
Now, let me see if I can, because it just kept stitching in one spot. And I thought I had a 90 needle.
But I think they're probably dull after all this.
Oh, I know they are, yeah, so it would be a good idea to put in a new needle. Yikes. All righty. So I cut out as much as the thread that I could. This is where that little shaver comes in. Did you ever buy one of those shavers from?
I did. That's what I used for my mess a little bit ago.
You know which shaver I'm talking about? Melanie was talking about, it was like a shaver they bought on Amazon or whatever.
Oh, no, I just used the little thing you told me about.
Yeah.
But
that's what-
I think they get dull. Is that
Uh-huh.
possible? I
Yeah.
probably need to replace it.
All
I
right.
have a bird's nest tool that I use.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about those. Let's see. Do you have it?
Yeah, somewhere.
Is that what you use to get it out from underneath the machine?
Yes. Come on. And it's never where you want it to be.
Of course.
It comes in a case that looks like this.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
And when you open it up, you gotta be careful. Because you have this hook, and then you have this knife.
Mm.
Wow, where'd you get that?
Dime, I think.
Oh,
Designs in machine embroidery.
I thought maybe you got it at an expo or something.
And it's really nice for that, like you did,
Uh-huh,
because then you can just take this and put it right underneath it and slice it off. And so
yeah,
you're not pulling and yanking
right.
on the
That,
design.
that would be a good tool, much better than what I just did.
The other tool that works real nice is a sandwich long slice for bread. It's a knife that's got the long handle on it with the,
Oh, yeah.
that works very, very nice for.
What is it? Huh?
It's a knife that's called a sandwich knife.
It's got a serrated edge.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
I have one of those.
they work very nice.
And you can saw it.
Yeah,
But is it not as big? Like I have one that's long, but is
well,
this?
that's what mine is. Mine is
Yeah,
10, 12 inches long,
yeah,
but it's flat.
yeah.
It's very flat.
I use it to cut angel food cake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's for. So it looks like my bobbin got all mucked up. So got caught and
What did it get caught on?
itself, it wrapped
Oh.
around itself, I guess, when I wound it. Okay, let's try this again. All righty. All right, let me see if I can get us back to where I was. Does everybody know how to go back stitches on the stitch out screen?
To do what?
Do you know how to go back in the stitches
Oh, yeah.
on your stitch out screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll just keep the iPad on the flower and I'll just go back to where I think I should be, see if it'll work. Okay, let's see. All right, let me see how we're doing over here. I have to look and see if I have a 90 needle. I'm not sure I have, or even a 100. I have an 80, 75. I do have a microtech. Well, that doesn't sound so bad now, that it's not all bunched up on the bottom.
Do you think it caught on the glue that you put there, Adeline?
No, I think it's the way it wound the bobbin, because it was wrapped around another thread.
Okay.
I think that's what it was. But you see how that works? Now, what you're going to do is the same thing with the leaves. You stitch out that first stitch, look to see where it went, then take your leaf, and that would be, let me see, those are number 13 for the first one. And so what you would do is you would stitch number 13 and watch how it stitches out. Then put the leaf down and add a little bit of glue if you want to, and then repeat 13 again. Because that's the short, it's a short stitch. It's only probably this long, just enough to tack it down, but keep it dimensional. And then do the same thing with 14. So, and then 15 stitches something, I don't know what. Off the top of my head. And then you go into 16 and 17, just like I did. I did 16 twice and then 17. And then the last is the outline, and I'll probably do that in gold. Because what it does is it outlines. Here's the, you really can't see it here. Because I did the outline of those little stitches in a light pink. Let's see, there it is. Oops. Okay. And so it doesn't really show up real well. So, I don't know. I guess I have to try it first to see if I like it. If not, it's just going to cover up all that dark spot, and I like that dark. It has a lot of dimension when you look at it, you'll see.
I like that gold color of the flower.
Yeah, I really like how that turned out too. So now color number 18 is the last stitch number, and then I'll just go back to, I think I finished 6. I'll just go back to the pink bud and then continue stitching. Let's see. Let me try this and see how it works.
Adeline, what stitch is 18? What does that stitch out?
That goes over all those little flower pieces that I just stitched.
Okay, thank you.
It should show up here in a minute. Oh, go away.
Makes them look like little seeds, probably, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. I put a rust brown on it so you can barely see it, which is good because I didn't want it to overcome that brown. I wanted the brown to show up. I don't know if you see it now. I zoomed in. Can you see it a little better? That's a rust color.
Yeah, we can see it good now.
Well, I'm kind of anxious to finish this off into what I think it should look like in my head. We'll see.
Have your border fabric picked out?
No, not at
No.
all. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll use that drop cloth stuff. Make it like a, you know, a pillow for the outside.
Yeah.
All right, there we are. We're done. So now,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back in the colors to, well, actually I'm going forward. Or what I can do, let me show you how this works. So I can go back, oopsie, I can go back in the colors, right? like this, you know, and just, or I'm scrolling ahead actually. Or I can just tap right here where this stitch, it says go to stitch, and that calculator pops up. And the number that I wrote down was 39433. And there it is. It's the paint color. So if you ever have, if this situation ever occurs again, that's the trick. And the reason we learned how to write numbers down is because when the power went out, there was no precise positioning. We had to figure it out. And I always tried not to sew around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but sometimes I taught classes, you know, in the afternoon like that. And we used to get some rolling thunderstorms in the 90s through here. I don't remember. I mean, it would be day after day after day. I don't remember that at all now. So that's it. So we'll be back together again next month for the second block of In the Hoop with the thread velvet. Does anybody have any questions? No questions?
We're good.
We're good? All right, well then I'm gonna go on to gold. I'm gonna change my pink to gold. Probably the lighter gold, yeah. And then I'll go back to stitching again. All right, are we gonna call it good?
Yes, we're doing fine, hon.
So,
We'll see you next week.
yes, yes, you will.
Okay.
All
Have a
right,
good one.
What's next week?
the playing with fonts.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm
Just
still here.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 All right, I'm gonna stop the